Man accused of killing his ex-girlfriend on Facebook Live changes his plea to guilty today.
This is Rannita Williams, a 27-year-old mother of three and interior designer from Shreveport, Louisiana, seen on Facebook Live apologizing as her ex-boyfriend stands just behind her, a gun hidden from the camera's view.
Stop, Jonathan! Stop, Jonathan!
What viewers didn't realize in that moment was that they were watching the final minutes of her life, and that what followed on April 12, 2018 would become one of the most disturbing crimes ever broadcast live on social media. Let me take you back to understand how a loving mother who was building a successful career ended up in this nightmare, and why the red flags in this relationship were ignored until it was too late. Rannita Williams was born and raised in Shreveport, Louisiana, a city that struggles with high crime and poverty rates. But Rannita was determined to build something better for herself and her three children, ages 4, 6, and 13. She was a single mother who worked incredibly hard to provide for her family, supporting them through her skills as a hairstylist and interior designer. Rannita was described by everyone who knew her as smart, humble, and cheerful. She had a gift for transforming ordinary spaces into beautiful homes, and her work earned her a growing reputation in the community. Rannita regularly posted her design projects on Facebook, where clients and friends praised her talent and warmth. Her cousin, Trina Williams, would later emphasize how beloved Rannita was, how she used her creativity to build a stable life for her kids. But then Rannita met Jonathan Robinson.
37-year-old Jonathan Robinson is Williams' ex-boyfriend. He initially entered a plea of not guilty to first-degree murder and several counts of attempted first-degree murder of police officers.
He was 37 years old, also from Shreveport, and in the beginning, everything seemed fine between them. They appeared happy together, sharing laughs and good times. In videos from that time, you can see them smiling, enjoying their relationship, looking like a good match. But what Rannita didn't know was that this man would bring chaos not only into her life, but also into her children's lives.
And her mother, Anita, is relieved the man accused of killing her daughter is pleading guilty.
This has been the longest months of my life.
Jonathan Robinson had a deeply troubled past defined by violence and crime. He grew up in the toughest parts of Shreveport, surrounded by violence and danger almost every day. That environment shaped him into someone who couldn't control his rage. From a young age, Robinson was constantly in trouble with the law. Over nearly 20 years, he built up an extensive criminal record filled with serious offenses. His criminal history included arrests for assault, domestic violence, attempted murder, armed robbery, and aggravated battery. He had served 10 years in prison before meeting Rannita. This was a man who had demonstrated again and again that he was dangerous, especially to women. Yet when he was released and his path crossed with Rannita's, she welcomed him into her life with open arms.
We winning.
Yeah,
we don't know how to lose. We don't even take losses good. And nothing.
Looking back, this decision would turn out to be a tragic one. At the time, Rannita believed in giving people another chance. She hoped Robinson could do better. Robinson acted normal initially. He quickly inserted himself into her family, becoming a father figure to her three children. He showed up at school events, acted protective, and made himself feel like part of the family. For Rannita, who hadn't received this kind of support from her children's father, it felt like a fresh start. But then Rannita had no idea that a turbulent time was about to begin. Robinson had another woman in his life, someone he was deeply involved with. Her name was Sharika Taylor, and she lived in Houston, Texas. Their relationship had been going on for years. Rannita had no idea about this. She didn't know she wasn't the only one in his life. Without realizing it, she had become part of a toxic love triangle, and that other woman would be the reason everything in Rannita's life started to unravel. At some point, both women discovered each other's existence. Even after learning the truth, both of them stayed in the situation initially, but the jealousy and anger between them started to grow, and it spilled onto social media. Rannita and Sharika began exchanging hostile comments on Facebook, with others adding fuel to the fire. The online drama escalated quickly. As the rivalry intensified, Rannita, who came from a humble background and valued peace, started to feel overwhelmed by the toxicity. Towards the end of 2017, Rannita made the difficult decision to walk away from the relationship with Robinson entirely. She chose to focus on her children, her interior design business, and her own mental health. Rannita even made a public Facebook post congratulating herself for leaving the toxic relationship, stating it had been a long journey with many difficult nights. It was her way of showing strength and letting everyone know she had finally chosen peace over drama. She was moving forward. But Robinson wouldn't leave her alone. He kept calling, kept asking for another chance, kept manipulating her emotions. And eventually, Rannita gave in. She took him back. The moment she did, the drama that had started on Facebook picked up right where it ended, only this time it was even worse. One day, while they were back together, Rannita recorded a video to clarify who was the main girlfriend and who was the side chick. In that video, Robinson himself confirmed that Rannita was not the side chick, which meant Sharika was. That single video changed everything and added more tension to an already explosive situation. From Sharika's perspective, the woman who had been with Robinson the longest, it was Rannita who was trying to steal her man. She felt betrayed, especially since Robinson kept going back to Rannita even after Rannita had tried to move on. Feeling hurt and angry, Sharika made a pointed Facebook post that read something like, "Stop trying to ruin someone else's happiness by dealing with a taken man, or you might just end up miserable." When Rannita saw this, she responded boldly, "Don't play with me, because I promise you, you ain't gonna like the way I play back." The two women continued throwing words at each other online, and things only got worse. Each one kept confronting Robinson, demanding answers, wanting to know where they stood. The pressure mounted. Robinson couldn't handle it anymore. Instead of being honest or walking away from both relationships, he made a choice. And the way he decided to resolve this situation would turn out to be the most horrific and heartbreaking decision imaginable. Jonathan Robinson woke up on the morning of April 12, 2018 with one thing on his mind: revenge. He was consumed by rage and obsession and prepared meticulously for what he was about to do. Jonathan went to his aunt's house and retrieved a semi-automatic rifle he had hidden there, then stopped at a local pawn shop and bought 2 boxes of ammunition, 40 bullets, and also went to a casino to gamble, later telling police he needed to clear his mind before carrying out his plan. Then he made the drive from Houston, Texas, where he had been staying with Sharika, all the way to Shreveport, Louisiana, where Rannita lived. This wasn't a spontaneous act of passion. This was premeditated murder. Jonathan came armed with a gun and a dark plan he was fully prepared to execute. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, Robinson arrived at Rannita's home on Natalie Street in the Caddo Heights neighborhood. He kicked in the door, forcing his way inside. Rannita's mother, Anita Williams, was there. So was her brother. Robinson was holding the rifle, demanding that Rannita apologize to Sharika Taylor for the social media drama, and he wanted it done on Facebook Live for everyone to see. When Rannita initially refused or hesitated, the situation escalated rapidly. Robinson went back to his car, retrieved more ammunition, and returned even more threatening than before. Anita, seeing a brief opportunity, managed to escape from the house. Rannita's brother also fled during the chaos, but Rannita was still inside, alone with an armed, enraged Robinson. While Anita ran to a neighbor's house to call 911, Robinson was forcing Rannita to go live on Facebook. There was just one problem. Rannita's own Facebook account was blocked at the time, so she had to use someone else's account to broadcast what Robinson was demanding. The Facebook Live video that would shock Shreveport and the nation began streaming. Rannita appeared on camera, clearly terrified but trying to stay calm. She started to apologize just as Robinson had demanded. You can hear the fear in her voice as she says she was wrong for going off on social media. Meanwhile, Robinson can be heard pacing in the background, agitated, gun in hand, his voice full of rage. He taunted her, saying she wanted to be famous, that he would make her famous. Then he opened the door as if daring the police to arrive. Rannita kept pleading with him. Her desperate pleas of stop, Jonathan, were captured on the live stream. And then, without warning, Robinson pulled the trigger. The gunshots rang out.
No.
Bitch, go.
He fired at least 6 times, starting with her legs to prevent her from escaping, then shooting her elsewhere on her body. The phone tumbled to the ground, but the audio kept recording.
Now, bitch, game over. Game over.
You could hear Robinson standing over her saying, "Now apologize, bitch," and "game over," before the stream finally ended. Hundreds of people were watching live as this happened. Horrified viewers immediately started calling 911, reporting what they had just witnessed. Anita Williams was already on the phone with dispatchers, frantically begging them to hurry.
Live, I'm off the phone. No.
This was Rannita Williams on Facebook Live just moments before her Facebook friends witnessed her life being taken. It happened back in April of 2018.
Shreveport Police Department officers arrived at the scene within minutes. But when they got there, Robinson wasn't done. He refused to surrender. Instead, he engaged police in a dangerous standoff that would last 80 minutes. Robinson fired nearly 30 rounds at the officers from inside the house. During the exchange of gunfire, he wounded Corporal Robert Entrican, shooting him in the wrist. The officer would recover, but it could have been so much worse. Police brought in SWAT teams, hostage negotiators, and everyone they could to try to end this peacefully. But Robinson later admitted he was trying to provoke the police into killing him.
No.
Want to be famous? I'm going to make you famous.
No.
No. Everybody want to be famous, let's be famous today.
Okay.
Stop, Jonathan! Stop, Jonathan!
In his confession, he told detectives, "I wanted to die." He kept shooting, hoping officers would end his life. He only stopped when he ran out of ammunition. That's when negotiators made a last-ditch effort. They brought Sharika Taylor, Robinson's girlfriend from Houston, the woman all this was supposedly about, onto the phone. When she spoke to him, something shifted. Taylor managed to convince him to drop the gun and surrender. Robinson finally complied. He was handcuffed and taken into custody, bringing his terrifying rampage to an end. But it was too late for Rannita. She was transported to University Health Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The mother of 3, the talented interior designer, the woman who had tried to walk away from toxicity and choose peace, was gone. Robinson was immediately arrested and taken to Shreveport City Jail, but before he even got to his cell, he started making shocking claims about what happened. In a recorded police interrogation that lasted 37 minutes, beginning at 1:58 p.m. that same day, Robinson gave a full confession.
Shot him. Where'd you shoot her at? I know in the leg, and I don't know where. I never really seen why I shot her. I just know I shot her something. I seen blood.
Did she say anything after that?
Robinson told detectives in chilling detail how he planned everything. He explained how he retrieved the rifle, bought the ammunition, and kicked in Rannita's door. He described shooting her in the leg first to stop her from running, then firing more rounds. He admitted he knew exactly what he was doing and insisted investigators charge him with first-degree murder. His motive, he said, was simple. He wanted Rannita to apologize publicly to Sharika Taylor for the online drama. When asked why he kept shooting at police afterward, he said he wanted them to kill him. The confession was damning, leaving no doubt about his guilt or his intent. Initially, Robinson was charged with second-degree murder and being a felon in possession of a firearm. After he vandalized his jail cell, he was transferred to Caddo Correctional Center. Then, as prosecutors reviewed the evidence, including his own confession, they added 7 counts of attempted first-degree murder for the shots he fired at police officers. In June 2018, the charge was upgraded to first-degree murder, and the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office announced they would seek the death penalty. But Rannita's family had different wishes. They didn't want Robinson executed. They wanted him to spend the rest of his life behind bars, suffering in prison, never experiencing freedom again. On January 24, 2019, Robinson appeared in court and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder as a part of a deal that avoided the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 100 concurrent years for the attempted murders of police officers. The sentence ensures he will die behind bars. During the sentencing, a tearful Robinson apologized directly to Anita Williams, Rannita's mother. And in a powerful act of grace, Anita forgave him publicly, saying it aligned with her wishes and her faith. But no amount of forgiveness could bring Rannita back. As of January 2026, Robinson remains incarcerated in the Louisiana State Prison System, likely at Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. There have been no appeals, no changes to his status, no possibility of release. He will spend every remaining day of his life locked up. The community of Shreveport was devastated by Rannita's death. She was known for her kindness, her creativity, and her fierce love for her children. On April 21, 2018, Rannita was laid to rest in Princeton, Bossier Parish, Louisiana. Many people from across the city attended her funeral service at Praise Temple Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral, offering prayers and paying their final respects. People who knew Rannita took to social media to share their grief, posting pictures and memories, choosing to remember her for the light she brought into their lives rather than the violence that took her away. Her 3 children, who lost their mother in the most horrific way imaginable, now had to grow up without her guidance and love. Her 3 children, who lost their mother in the most horrific way imaginable, were now forced to grow up without her guidance and love. They didn't just lose a mother, they lost their only true anchor in life. The woman who woke them up every morning, who made sure they were fed, who comforted them when they were scared, who reassured them that everything would be okay. In a single moment, their entire world collapsed, in a way no child should ever have to experience. The youngest was only 4 years old, likely too young to fully understand what forever really means. But the absence would still be there, a house without a mother's voice, a hug that would never return, and years later, as that child grows older, the truth would slowly settle in, that their mother didn't just leave, she was violently taken from them. That realization would come late, but the pain would be just as deep. The 6-year-old was old enough to start asking questions. Why isn't mom coming home? Why is everyone crying? Why does the house feel so quiet now? These are questions no explanation can truly answer. There is no way to make sense of a loss this cruel to a child who only wanted their mother back. And then there was the oldest, 13 years old, forced to process this tragedy on an entirely different level. Old enough to understand what happened, old enough to remember their mother clearly, and old enough to carry the weight of anger, confusion, and helplessness. At an age meant for school, friendships, and self-discovery, this child instead had to learn how to live with trauma. These children will grow up with a story they never chose. Online, the name Rannita Williams will always be linked to a horrifying video. But to her children, she was never a headline or a viral tragedy. She was Mom, a woman who worked tirelessly to give them a better life, who dreamed of stability, safety, and a future for her kids. No one can truly know what lies ahead for these 3 children, but what is certain is that every dream Rannita was building, every plan she had for their future, was cut short. The burden of healing, of surviving, of growing up too fast was placed on their shoulders far too early. And this is the real cost of domestic violence. Not just a life taken, but multiple lives permanently shattered. One man's need for control, fueled by obsession and rage, left scars that will never fully heal. What responsibility should social platforms have when violence unfolds in real time? Share your thoughts in the comments and choose another video on your screen to keep watching videos like this.